All right, so you want to see a how to play video for Roadkill. Roadkill is it's pretty easy to play, but there's a little bit of strategy to it. For starters, you have action die. Those are the three dice sitting off to the side. You roll them, and the numbers on them will correspond to certain sections on the board. So on the board, you'll see a 1 die. It equals +1 skill. A 2 dice equals -1 fuel. A 3 is damage to your front tire. A 4 is damage to your back tire. A 5 increases the enemy. And a 6 increases your distance. If you roll doubles, you will plus enemy. If you roll triples, you will plus distance. Now you'll notice your distance die is a 1 and your enemy die is a 5. And that's so you don't mix them up while they're on the board. So from there, let's roll the dice. We line them up in ascending order. And then we will decide if we are going to spend skill points to alter any of these dice. In this case, let's just go ahead and spend a skill point to show you how to do it. So we spent 1 skill point, changed that to 5, and we altered this 5 here to a 4. All right. So once you have altered a die, you offset it so you can remember that it's been altered, and then we can start to resolve it. So we have a 1, which means that we get skill. We have a 4, which means we take damage to the back tire. And we have a 6, which means we can increase our distance or attack. We don't need to attack because the enemy is still in the starting space. So we'll roll again and align them up in ascending order. And we have a 1, 3, and a 5. Now this 1 here will not improve my skill because my skill is already maxed out. So I know that I'm going to be getting another skill point. So I'm going to go ahead, spin that 5, or spin 1 skill point, change that to 5. And I am going to again change this from a 5 to a 6, because if I left it at a 5, the enemy would increase, and I don't want that to happen. All right, so I changed it, I altered it, so I offset it to the right, and then I am ready to resolve the dice. I have a 1, so I will replenish my skill. I have a 3, so I'll take front damage to my tire, and my 6. Now here's the catch. When you alter the dice to a 1 or a 6, you no longer get the main perk of increasing your skill or increasing your damage. So if I altered this 2 to a 1, I would offset it. And with it being offsetted, I'd remember that I altered it, and so I would know that I don't get to increase my skill. Now, the trade-off is nothing bad is happening to you. You're just not getting anything good. Now, if I altered this 5 to a 6 and offsetted it for the same reason, to remember that it's been altered, I would no longer get to increase my distance. However, I still get to use the attack perk. So if there was an enemy in front of me, I could still attack it and reduce its distance by 1 space. So in this case, I altered it to a 6. There's nothing to shoot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it means nothing bad is going to happen to me, in which case that means it's a good thing. Now with the tires here, you don't have much damage. It starts on the circle, you move down to the green, you move down to the yellow, and then if you move it down any further to that red, that tire falls off and you lose the game. So we really don't want to do too much damage to our tires. We do have enough fuel, so most of the time you'll want to lose fuel. However, if you spend too many skill points altering dice, you may not have enough skill points when you need them most. The enemy here, if the enemy advances and is on you, you cannot increase your distance. You can never increase your distance if the enemy die is on you or in front of you. So if he was here, I would have to shoot him and take him back 1. If he was in front of me and we rolled another 5, instead of going forward, he would push me backwards. And that is essentially the game, aside from one last thing. So the last thing is if you roll doubles, in which case we roll 2 5s. Every time you roll doubles, the enemy takes a turn. In this case, it would just go right back to the start. But if we were up further, he would push me back. Or if he were behind me, he would stack on top of me and then get in front of me and then push me back. So the enemy is constantly trying to slow down your progress. Meanwhile, you're losing fuel, taking damage to your vehicle, and spending your skill points. Once your skill point gets down to 1, you can still use 1 skill point per turn. You just can't use as many as you may be needing to use. You win the game if your distance die reaches the end of the distance track. However, you lose the game if you run out of fuel and your fuel die falls to a 1, or if you lose either of your tires.